Yo, in my opinion, blockchain technology or decentralized ledger technology is not only going to affect money, finance, or currency. I rather think that it's also going to affect every single other industry under the sun, right? For example, supply chain, the art industry, the music industry, but also social media, for example, right? We're actually building a huge network of peer-to-peer networks that are all eventually also going to be interoperable and able to communicate and exchange value with each other. Therefore, I'm extremely excited to talk today with Colby and Olivier, who are part of the Get Protocol team. Because what Get Protocol already has built, very important, they don't want to build it, they already have built it, is a smart ticketing system that empowers event organizers, conference hosts, and also artists and musicians to have more impact and more control. And if you want to learn about all those things, how everything works under the hood, their white label solutions, their partner ecosystem, there's a lot of cool things in that part as well as the tokenomics and a lot of topics related to that, then make sure that you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Also go over to Twitter and Telegram and join the Get Protocol communities. You can ask questions there if you have any. And before we jump into the interview, here's a brief 1-minute trailer that gives a great insight on what Get Protocol is actually all about. But also make sure that you stick around to the very end of the video because there's a lot of cool things and knowledge bombs, but also, exciting outlooks for Get Protocol. So if you're part of the community, don't miss this, and I hope you enjoy this video. Have fun.
Everybody uses tickets. We use them as proof of our right to enter a plane, stadium, or our favorite concert. Dishonest reselling and ticket fraud occur worldwide on a large scale because scamming with tickets is easy. This results in money ending up in the wrong pockets. Time for tickets to get smart. Get Protocol makes tickets digitally self-aware and proves authenticity with blockchain technology. Scamming becomes impossible because event organizers have full control, from the moment the first ticket is issued until the last ticket is validated. Event organizers can now dictate all the rules of the primary and secondary market. With full control, visitors and organizers are reconnected in one honest marketplace. Crowd management, direct communication, and future promotion become very simple. Get Protocol runs on a type of fuel called the Guaranteed Entrance Token, or GET. In other words, smart tickets require GET. For consumers, buying tickets stays as easy as ever. Get access. Get Protocol.
Okay, so we can start. We're rolling.
All right.
Yeah, so really excited to be joined today by Colby and Olivier, who are part of the Get Protocol team. And the amazing thing that I found out when I did my research on you guys and on Get is that it's already live. It's already functional. It's already around for many years. You have a running product and also a lot of business integration. So that's something that you rarely see in crypto, right? It's a lot of white papers and hype usually, but you guys are already pretty much successful. So congrats on that. We're talking about all this today and also how everything works under the hood because Get deals with smart ticketing using the blockchain and just resolving fundamental also trust issues in that field. But yeah, first things first, guys, how are you doing? Where are you tuning in from and how is everything going?
Yeah, doing good. I'm tuning in from Wales, UK, and Olivier is tuning in from Amsterdam. Things are going great, actually. Yeah, we've got a lot of things in the works. It's super exciting to be really just ramping things up, and they have been ramping up for the past 4 years now, right? Yeah, all things are going good.
Amazing, yeah. And maybe we can start off just by that you give us a brief context and timeline, how you got involved into the project. I think, Olivier, you've already been involved in it for 3.5, 4 years now. Yeah. How kind of like your little background, your little story, and then also maybe the major milestones over the past 3.5, 4 years.
Sure. Yeah, so we just celebrated our 5-year anniversary for the company. So since actual the very first ideation, like a hackathon in Ukraine, and moving on from then, there was an ICO in late 2017 for the project, and I personally found out about it on the last day of the ICO, I think, and I heard about it. I was like, oh, this is great, and they were like around the corner because I also live in Amsterdam. It's a Dutch project. So I got involved just as a ICO investor and as a community member, and stuck around and ended up becoming first a community manager, and then kind of just sticking around to the team. It's a very we're about 35 people now. It's a pretty active, really close team, and it really works the way that if you develop yourself and see opportunities, you can really grow also with the company. And yeah, we've had a lot of exciting stuff happening. So basically from the beginning, of course, our concept is bringing transparency and trust to ticketing, and that's easier said than done, because it's been an industry that's really been plagued by a lack of transparency, and it's also been designed that way really to maximize profits. So when you sell a ticket, I think this is a problem that everyone understands. When you buy a ticket to a concert, either the site goes down and all tickets are sold out and they're already on a secondary platform for 5 times the price, or you have to buy it from someone through and you have no idea whether the ticket is actually valid or what's the deal and how much you should be paying for this. So we are changing that, and we have changed it. So we have essentially done this by issuing 100% digital tickets, which means that our tickets are not a PDF file that you receive in your email. It's not something that you can forward or transfer easily. But they live essentially on your smartphone. So you have a wallet app on your phone you can download, where you receive the ticket, and that's where it lives, and it's tied to your phone number and your device essentially. So you can't swap your SIMs or things like that. And by doing this, we've created kind of a closed loop, essentially a digital closed loop for where your ticket can live. And that prevents scalping from happening, which is a big plus, and a big problem still in a lot of markets because it's poorly regulated, if it is regulated even in most markets, because then they say, well, this is supply and demand. So if people want to pay $12,000 for a ticket to see a soccer game, then that's up to them. But that's kind of a weak excuse, I think. It's just not wanting to deal with the issue head on. So the ticketing industry is a huge industry. It's like $65 billion, I think, in the next couple of years. And there's a lot of progress to be made. And at the end of the day, our focus is not just on making it fairer, but just finding lots of applications through innovative tech. So this is blockchain, but this is also other things. For example, we have a rotating QR code on our tickets. So every 15 seconds, it alternates. So you can't screenshot it and forward it. It doesn't work. All sorts of cool stuff like that. And we're really excited about that kind of stuff. And we are just looking at all sorts of ways to make the ticketing experience funner and better for everyone involved, and also finding benefits for event organizers and artists.
And a main part of the problem is the fact that this connection between the artists and the event organizer and the fans is completely weaponized, whether it be touts or primary markets that just have this black box control. The problem is that the distance between the fans and the people putting on the event are completely segregated, and especially on secondary markets, event organizers, venues, artists, they really have no control over this. They have no data. They make no revenue from this, right? So it's essentially the weaponization of the fan artist connection that really creates that problem, and you see that through price hikes, through lack of data, a lack of connection. And the smart ticket, whether it be through the upgrade with NFT tickets, it really helps to connect those parties together, and that makes sense, right? With the way data is going, with the way things are occurring, it's important to be able to connect people together and to remove barriers. So yeah, that's the plan, and that's what we've set out to do, and that's what we're actually doing. So
yeah, and I also brought in an infographic that I'm going to share in a second with you, and then you can walk us through also this royalty split, which you just mentioned, basically that artists can now also have more power and control, and also have more clarity, right, and more transparency. Before we look into that, what are kind of like, talk us through the last 3 years, because you started, I guess, 2016, right? So you said it's the 5th anniversary of the company already. But how has the crypto bear market been for you guys, and how did you manage to survive that?
Yeah, good question. Yeah, it's kind of been a blessing in disguise, I think. So we're very much focused on having a good product fit with what we're doing. We really don't want to be, like you said, one of those projects with a white paper and then never actually finding any users. So since day one, we've been failing quickly, really getting to our tickets in the hands of actual users. So we really use the bear market to just build and develop and get our system in place where it's now we're really proud of it. We have just a digital ticketing system that's not just competitive within the crypto or blockchain world, but it can really, we believe it's better than actual, like the big traditional ticketing systems that are out there. It offers lots of benefits that they simply don't have. And we're very proud of that. So we were able to really develop that to a point where we feel comfortable now in spreading it all over the world. And we started doing so last year by white labeling our product. So essentially the way that we started out is we have Get Protocol, which is the back end essentially. And then we also set up our own ticketing company called Guts Tickets, because we of course need to prove what we're preaching. We need to show that this actually works. So we did that over the last couple of years, and now everything we've built with Guts Tickets is now offered to any party worldwide through a white label possibility. So they can just slap on their own logo and their own colors, and they can offer these benefits to the users in their local market. And we started that beginning 2020. Very excited, lots of things lined up, and then pandemic. So that was, the live event industry was, of course, one of the most drastically hit by that. So right before the pandemic hit, we were able to sign 3 white label candidates. So that's one in Italy, one in Germany, and one in South Korea, which is great. Very good start. But of course, we had to wait for real big events to come. So we're still waiting on that, but everything is lined up for the rest of this year. But essentially, that's the plan for now. So we really our goal is essentially world domination. So we want to be the global standard for proof, the data standard for proof to a right to enter an event, essentially, since that's what tickets are. And we're going to do this by, getting, the solution into the hands of suitable partners worldwide. So we're not going to do it ourselves, but we're going to find companies or new companies or artists or people, whoever, who understand the benefits and are really interested in this and can just take what we've built and run with it. And so, yeah, there's 5 users right now worldwide, and there's dozens already coming up, a few of which have already been signed, but it's going to go very quickly from here on out. But that's the plan right now, just really scaling all over the world.
Yeah, I think that white label offer basically for projects and companies to use that has been a very smart business move. Because crypto is very tribal. Usually projects want to be in their own kind of little bubble, but if you really want to scale, you really have to think about, okay, how can we actually achieve that, right? And white labeling is probably the best way. Like you say, for those who don't know what it means, basically that what you were just saying, companies can just put their own branding around it, their own logo, right? And everything that happens in the back end, front end users don't even know that they're using Get, right, in the back end. So for them, the user experience doesn't really change. And I think that is also the road to mass adoption for crypto as a whole eventually, right? When you don't really need to get sold on blockchain or crypto, right? You just have benefits, right? You have benefits for end users, also for the artists, for everyone. It's a win-win-win. And then it's just a no-brainer, right?
Exactly, and that's something we've really focused on. At the end of the day, we see blockchain as an engine. It really performs this critical, potent use case, but not everyone is going to have the technological proficiency with it, and not everyone's going to want to be interested in learning about blockchain. And especially with event attendees, there's a whole mixture of people. So it's really important to be able to have something that just seamlessly works with what people are used to, whether it be payment systems, whether it be how they collect their tickets, how they pay for their tickets. So yeah, it's building something which really extracts all the potency of blockchain, but keeps it in the background so anyone can use it.
Yeah, so now let's talk a little bit deeper and in depth about that. Yeah, you both actually gave already a bit of insight here, but talk us through that infographic here and basically how it affects all the parties involved. Maybe we can start here with the pre-financing future events, and then you can just walk us through everything.
Sure.
Yep.
Yes, it's good to say this is this infographic is centered around NFT tickets. So of course we've sold since 2016. We've been selling tickets on chain, every single one of them. Now since about a year and a half, we've been working on NFT ticketing, kind of before the big hype. So we're essentially just kind of stumbled into the NFT hype now, which is good for us because people really understand the use case now. Before you had to convince them of blockchain ticketing, and now they really get it through the functionalities of NFTs. So this is a really clear sense of really the three benefits that we see with NFT ticketing. And this is essentially on top of what we're already doing in terms of the digital ticketing right now, like I told you about the prevention of scalping and data control, as Colby mentioned. So one really exciting thing, I think it's the most exciting thing, is the pre-financing of future events. It's essentially a crossover between NFTs and DeFi. And this is born from something that we noticed, which is very interesting, that a lot of ticketing companies, traditional ticketing companies, are essentially, in a way, financial institutions. So what they do to onboard clients or to help out their clients, say if you want to organize a festival, that costs a lot of money before you can sell any single ticket. So you're going to need a really big amount of cash up front. Most people don't have that. So what they say, all right, sign with us, we'll do your ticketing, and we'll give you 500,000 bucks up front so you can organize the thing. That's kind of messed up because it's kind of like a little mafia trick, like, oh, you want this, you need this, come to us. The way we see this pre-financing future events feature is artists and event organizers can bundle essentially their future unsold tickets to an event. So say you want to do an event in 6 months, you can already bundle those tickets in NFTs right now, and you can offer these up as investments to DeFi investors. So you can say, I'm going to do this event. You can now invest in these tickets, all of them or a portion of them, at X% discount. And then these DeFi investors make the investment. You can organize your event with that money that you've already gotten. And then once the ticket sale actually happens, this money is taken back to the DeFi investors who make a nice profit. You have your event and everyone's happy. So this kind of decentralizes that whole process, and you don't need a really big loan shark to come in and front the money for you. So this is something I'm very excited about. This is also something we've here in Holland already talked to a lot of artists about, explained it to them, and they're all, just basically ready to go. They're just waiting on us to finalize it. So we're doing lots of pilots now for this feature and making sure it all goes well. We're using bouncer pools to complete the flow. So we need to make sure, of course, that this is 100% set in stone the way it's going to work. And then we're going to unleash it onto the world and hopefully make a lot of artists very happy.
And this is an interesting thing because we see it as a proper real world use case for DeFi as well, so away from farming, away from other methods. This is something that can really not only have a massive impact on the event industry and how financing occurs, but also provide another use case for DeFi in the crypto space and open it up to, as Olivier said, a $65 billion industry, which is only growing year after year. COVID aside, of course. But yeah, and another one is perpetual revenue. So essentially, this is kind of like, if we go back to what we said about the secondary ticket markets in a traditional ticketing company or ticketing system, as soon as that ticket is sold off of the primary market, you sort of lose, it just poofs, it goes into thin air. You don't know who owns it, you don't know how much they paid for it, and the legitimate parties make nothing from it. So of course, thanks to NFTs, thanks to smart contracts, you can quite literally just bake all of these revenue splits into the ticket, so that every time it is sold, it doesn't really matter where it's sold. The ticket knows, okay, I've been sold, I can split off this revenue to legitimate parties. And this is, again, a massive game changer, because you're talking about $15+ billion in the secondary market itself that's going to parties that are really, again, weaponizing the connection between the artists, the fans, and the event organizers, right? So being able to just tap into that market, and not only tap into it, but quite literally program it in, is a game changer. And you can, of course, do this. So the event organizer, the venue, the artist, even investors, right? It's the legitimate party, the event organizer, the artist, who gets to decide how that revenue is split, which is, yeah, huge. And of course, tickets as collectibles. So that's something people are already probably quite familiar with the NFT art scene, with how big the NFT community has gotten. And this is something, like, even though it's last, but it's definitely not least, right? Because there's a massive interest in being able to really connect people together. And everyone can think back of moments in their past where they've been to an event and they thought, oh my God, that was like one of the best times of my life, right? So being able to immortalize those moments in an NFT and have a collectible that can be shared, that can be traded 50 years into the future, that says, I was there, this is the moment. That's a massive thing, right? And it doesn't even have to be something that's static. It could be the case where, you could have everyone in the event, and there's like 5 of the best memories that occurs, and you get to vote on which one you'd like to see as a collectible. So that really, again, drives more engagement to fans and the artists. And yeah, we're super hyped for the potential of that one. So
yeah, that's really, really cool, because I think also, now with the recent explosion and the whole NFT hype, everybody, when they hear NFTs, they think of expensive JPEGs on OpenSea, right? But NFTs are actually so much more than that, right? Collectibles, digital ownership, counterfeit, anti-counterfeit stuff. So there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, and that's why I also like what you guys doing, because you're actually also bringing this to and merging it with the real world, right? Which is what most NFT projects nowadays. Obviously, with this hype, and that's all fine. That's crypto, right? It's up and downs, and when everything goes up, everybody gets overexcited and just launches whatever. But you guys are really bringing this to the real world, so I think that's really cool. But now let's move on to the next part, so to speak, the token part, right? So you already have your own token, the GET token, that is traded, I think, on Uniswap, and it's an ERC20 token, I guess. So can you talk a little bit about the utilities of the token, about the functionalities, and also what technology is it built on, right? I think right now it's on ETH, but do you also plan to migrate to other chains, or what is the game plan here?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yeah, so our token, it's very important for us that we've since day one, we're really focused on the market fit. We're really focused on actual delivering added value, actual making sense. Founded by Dutch guys. A lot of the company is Dutch, so we're very like down to earth and really, okay, if we do something, it needs to make sense, at least initially. So our token is really focused on utility, at least it's designed to be. So it's essentially the fuel that runs the protocol. So every ticket to get from point A to point B, if you're selling a ticket to a fan, it needs our GET token to get there, essentially. So that's really that's the core use case for it, which we really stand by and are very proud of. So this means essentially that it has a bunch of values also in our international expansion as we go abroad, like I was telling about before. It's also very easy because this get is simply what is needed by ticketing companies, say in South Korea or in Africa or whatever. Everyone just needs get. So this is also like the currency within the ecosystem. So this means you're not sending invoices all over the world in 20 different currencies and all sorts of different whatever. Simply need get as a type of credit essentially on the back end to make sure that you're able to issue our smart tickets. Yeah, and then there's all sorts of stuff now coming up also because this is basically like the core layer of the use for it. And now with the DeFi things we were talking about, you've of course got essentially new usage for it. So this is also some aspects which we'll be adding on essentially to the tokenomics in the time to come as we finalize also the flow of the DeFi process. But it's also going to be an important role there as well.
Yeah, and I think it's also important to say the fact that, again, it's one of those things where it seamlessly happens in the background. So event attendees, they don't need to use Get, they don't need to know about Get, but it still, again, benefits them because it is the fuel for each ticket. And obviously that has offered challenges, be it the scaling, be it ETH fees, for example. And that's something that's quite beneficial for us, is because we've kept the blockchain in the background, it's allowed us to have quite a lot of freedom as to what blockchain solution fits best for the project. So we're quite blockchain agnostic in that regard. For example, we use Clayton for the South Korea approach. We're very much, we like partnering with projects that can add real value to the project. So for example, Chainlink with their VRF, it can be used for long queues to absolutely prove a random queue, which is fantastic, really, right? Because it's being able to properly integrate these kind of projects in a way that makes sense. And for our NFT ticketing, of course, different solutions fit that really can address the scaling. Yeah.
And you just mentioned Clayton. So I covered them a few weeks ago here on my channel, and I've been following them for a year now. For those who don't know, Clayton is basically the blockchain conglomerate from Korea, which is led by KakaoTalk, right? And KakaoTalk, they have 50 million users.
Massive.
Yeah. Social media app there, right? Whenever you go to Korea and you see a cute girl on the street and you ask her number, you ask her KakaoTalk QR code and you scan it and then you do everything online, right? So that's Kakao, and it's really cool. So can you expand on that collaboration? Because when you Colby told me about it last week, I was really like, oh wow, that's cool, that's interesting.
Yeah, we're very excited about it. It's we've been partnered with them for a while now, like 2 years, and of course they've been really getting set up, and South Korea has some more regulatory challenges that they're getting through now in general. But overall, it's really it's very interesting because it's such a different market. Like we can't really start selling tickets in South Korea because you have to know the market a little bit and see what's going on there. But Clayton, they're really focused on real use cases. They really want to, advance blockchain tech and really bring it to life. And the cool thing about South Korea is it's so digitally native. Everyone is used to using their phones, like you said, and it's like you send sticker packs to each other if you offended someone, you know. So it's really it's very cool. It's way more advanced in that sense than I think most markets here. So it's a very ripe breeding ground for advancing our use case. And so we have now a lot of possibilities growing there. Unfortunately, the COVID is still affecting them quite heavily. But once that clears up, we've got our white label partner there who has some very big things in mind, and we're also very excited about using the Clayton chain for our ticket registrations there. Like Colby said, we're blockchain agnostic, so we can kind of determine this per market what makes the most sense also for the local users. So we're very excited about that, and just partnering with them has also helped us kind of expand our scope in terms of what's possible and on the business development front, because they're a subsidiary of Kakao, which is just huge. It's like the Amazon of Korea. So There's all sorts of interesting angles there that we're happy to pursue with them, and it's just a really strong partner to have.
Yeah, agree. And I think Korea, not only from a crypto perspective or blockchain perspective and the digital nature of the whole country, but also it's a very creative country. Whenever I go there, it's there's a lot of artists there, and obviously the K-pop scene is huge there, right? So there's probably a lot of potential for you guys as well to really get established. And since you already have connections, and it's also I think get this listed on Coin One, right, which is also Korean exchange.
Yeah.
So I think the foundation for that is really set, and that's really cool. I don't know, either of you, can you just talk some numbers, right? So I think it's always better to understand when you hear numbers and can put things into perspective in terms of how many partners do you have? You already said you have 6 white label partners, or 5 or 6. But how many tickets you've been already sold, and some metrics and some numbers would be cool.
Sure, man. Yeah, absolutely. It's so let's start with tickets. To date, so in the last 5 years, we've sold about 650,000 tickets.
Wow.
So in terms of blockchain adoption, that's fairly decent, I think. These are all people, like Colby said, that have no clue about blockchain or how it works. They all have their own wallet address that they don't even know about most of the time, which is perfect. That's exactly the way we want it. And this is how we see, like you said, blockchain adoption is just only offering the benefits and don't force it down their throats. Don't have to understand proof of work or proof of stake or stuff like this. So 650,000 to date, and that's really been our startup phase essentially. So we really individual events we had like hundreds of local theater events, which 70-year-old people going into a theater room and then scanning them. And this is how we got our system to be as good as it is now. And now with the white label partnering, we're expecting it to ramp up really quickly. So we're kind of servicing 2 types of organizations, which is the new companies who see what we're doing and want to also try that in their local market. And then we're also offering lots of benefits to existing ticketing companies. So there could be bigger ones that have already been around for a while. And we're just essentially offering them the blockchain layer, so they don't have to change anything. They've already got their system set up, but we can offer the blockchain aspect of what we're doing. And if and when we onboard these ticketing companies, then I expect the numbers to just go astronomical. Because for crypto terms, 650,000 is a lot, but any medium-sized ticketing company does millions per year. So it is very likely that within a year or 2 we will be also in that category. So we're very excited about that, and that's of course directly correlated to the amount of white labelers. And we have several business developers here who have been losing a lot of sleep or have not been sleeping very much, at least because they've just been overwhelmed with interest recently. Like I said, the NFT hype has really put us in a good spot in terms of our development already, and we seem to be the ticketing project that's most advanced in this, but I'm always hoping to be proven wrong, because we really honestly do want to see way more competitors than we currently see, because it's a huge market and there's enough space for everyone, but we really want to solidify the use case, and we want to show the world what can be done with NFT tickets, because it's just really very awesome. So the more people, the merrier. But long story short, our business developer, one of them, Sander, said last week he had 8 new prospect meetings in one day. So that's kind of indicative of what's been going on. And of course, you have to be realistic, and sales cycles take a long time, and there's all sorts of variables that come into play. But even if we do a very poor job of onboarding these people, then we're still going to do great. So yeah, we're very excited about that. So not sure how many numbers I mentioned, but that's
No,
something.
that's great. Yeah, that gives a better understanding of where do you guys stand, right? Because in the
Yeah.
intro, I also said that you are already pretty much established and have very good business integrations there. So it helps to better understand like how far you already are, and kind of like the competitive landscape would have been my next question.
Yeah.
But I think your biggest, and maybe you can talk a little bit about that. I think your biggest competitors in that field are still from the traditional internet, right, or from the traditional space, and not from the crypto space. So I think there's this one article where I think from one of your community members who also talks about how Ticketmaster works, for example, right, and how they scalp tickets and then resell it at a higher price immediately with bots and whatnot. So can you talk about I don't know, like what are they doing? Are they also going to implement blockchain or NFTs, or are they just keep are they just going to keep doing what they do, and then you're just going to overtake them because you have better technology, or what's the game plan here?
Yeah. So,
Okay.
I'll go for this one. Yeah. So the thing to think about is we like to call it like a black box control, right? So a lot of primary ticket companies, they have what is a moat essentially around all of their services, and that as Olivier touched upon, you have kind of these deals where, oh, we'll finance your event, you get access to our moat, but then you're very much locked into it. And whilst traditional ticketing companies are absolutely our competitors, we also do want to have an open data standard which allows anyone to benefit from blockchain, from NFTs, from Get Protocol, right? Like we see it as kind of like we can completely bring up the space, bring up the traditional ticketing platforms to the point where anyone can benefit from the protocol, from blockchain, from NFTs, and again create an open data standard. So yeah, onto like sort of the black box effect. It's kind of like that's something the blockchain perfectly fits, right? Because it's about the transparency. It's about being able to really give people a look into what was really something very closed off. So yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's becoming pretty apparent recently that the really big ticketing companies like the Ticketmasters, of course, these are smart people. They're not really gonna wait and die out and watch themselves be really innovated upon by all these other little assholes like ourselves. So they are definitely, you can see that also now they're beginning to talk about NFT ticketing and the benefits. You've seen some recent headlines from them that shows really that they know what they're talking about, at least, and they see the benefits. I think for most in general, talking to traditional ticketing companies, their big challenges are usually that they have technology that's been built 20 years ago, and that's only been updated. So it's kind of like a leaning tower that's really, faulty. But so they need, for them, it would be interesting to have, like Colby said, like access to this, open, interoperable data standard, which is exactly our end goal as well. So it might sound strange, but kind of the goals are somewhat aligned in that sense, as we're chasing the same benefits. So it's an interesting time for sure. I mean, it also remains to be seen for these big names, what they actually do. Of course, we saw the same when blockchain came around 4 years ago, and everyone was mentioning blockchain, and everyone's supposedly working with blockchain, but very few people, I think, understood actually what it meant. I think right now the same is going on with NFTs. Very few people really understand what's happening. But I think the benefits are becoming more and more clear, and the benefits are actually pretty universal. So it'll be interesting to see what steps they take.
All right, that's cool. So now that we've talked through the product, through the technology, the benefits of the platform, and everything, we also have to accommodate the moon boys, right? Accommodate when Binance. And I literally, like, an hour before we started the call, I was literally in the group, and somebody was literally asking when Binance.
Yeah.
So can you talk about some juicy things here that are coming up on a roadmap soon? I'm also going to share this real quick. You also have a white label candidate in the pipeline. So can you talk about a little bit the juicy things here in crypto?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Let's see where to start.
Well, we can definitely mention our NFT ticketing explorer, which is something that we're really excited about. And this is something that I think the NFT community, but also the wider cryptocurrency community will love, because it's very similar to like a block explorer, right? Like you get to see the data going on underneath. So what it is it's a platform which will allow you to see tickets as they sort of in real time as they are sold through the protocol, processed, and you'll be able to check your ticket actually and see, you know, has it been sold, has it been claimed, has it been validated. So yeah, real-time statistics, really showcasing the underlying processing of these tickets through the protocol. So, and that should be coming on the horizon.
Okay.
They want clear dates, Colby.
They want clear dates. Yeah, yeah.
No, that'll be a matter of weeks at the most. So that's going to be very, very cool and really help also show what we're doing. And then it's just going to be a bunch of new white labels, more and more and more, all over the globe. We're really going to just be expanding in every direction. So there's we signed a new one last week. That then we can't announce the name yet, but we did the payment and the deal. And there's just going to be a ton more.
Here from that infographic here, or from that graphic.
Yeah, exactly. That was why we made this. Yeah, so it's going to be a new country, which is always fun, because the goal is really to go all over the globe. And I guess I could say, if you really want hints, that it's a country where they speak English predominantly. Okay. So I'll give you that. But there's just going to be a lot more on the way. I think both smaller and bigger. And I'll stop talking now, because if I keep talking, I'll say stuff I regret.
Yeah, that's fine. That's cool. Thanks for sharing that. And I think we can wrap it off here, because the attention span in crypto is pretty low. So I hope, but I think there's a lot of value in this. So I hope everybody enjoyed this today. If there's any final thoughts that you want to share, also please tell us how we can find you, and then we can wrap it up.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having us. First off, really nice to talk to you. And we found you through our community, who we asked, who are some really good, trustworthy people who actually care about this stuff and actually care about innovation, and your name popped up. So really happy to do this with you and jump on your channel. Appreciate the time. And people can jump into our community on Telegram. The Get Protocol community should be easy to find. And follow us on Twitter at Get Protocol. And we have a really lovely community who are really helpful and really also care about what we're doing. So anyone looking to find out more is more than welcome. You can ask any questions, basically.
All right, perfect. So thanks for being on, and also thanks to your community for finding me or whatever, or following me. That's a real honor, because I mean, I really like what you guys do and how you do it over so many years now. Also, really trying to build something into the real world that's very rare in crypto. So I wish you guys all the best. Maybe we couldn't do this again in the future, and keep in touch. And stay safe, and we'll talk soon.
Yeah, all the best.
Thanks. Take care.
Bye.